The $5 bill lay on the white tablecloth like a quiet confession, thin, fragile, almost embarrassed to exist in a room filled with chandeliers, crystal glasses, and people who wore wealth like perfume. Her hands trembled as she held it, eyes fixed on the table, heart pounding so loudly it felt like the entire restaurant could hear it. This wasn't how a first date was supposed to look. This wasn't how her life was supposed to feel. And yet, here she was, sitting in one of the most expensive restaurants in the city, with only $5 to her name. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected miracles, take a moment right now to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us that humanity still matters. Her name was Mia. She wasn't poor because she was lazy. She was poor because life had never given her a soft place to land. Orphaned young, raised in unstable homes, bounced between relatives who saw her as responsibility instead of family, she learned early that survival was a skill, not a gift. By 19, she was working 2 jobs, one in a grocery store during the day, one cleaning offices at night, while trying to attend community college. Every dollar she earned already belonged to rent, food, transport, and tuition. There was never extra, not for dresses, not for makeup, not for dreams, and definitely not for dates. But this night mattered. Not because the man across from her was rich or impressive, but because it was the first time in years she had allowed herself to hope. She had met him online, a simple man with kind words, a warm smile, and a story about rebuilding his life after hardship. He suggested the restaurant. She didn't want to come. Her chest tightened when she saw the name. Luxury, crystal lights, valets, men in suits, women in silk dresses. But she said yes anyway, because sometimes loneliness is heavier than fear. She wore her only decent dress, borrowed makeup from a co-worker, and walked there instead of taking a bus to save money. In her pocket was the last $5 she owned, not for food, not for drinks, just in case, a security blanket, a silent prayer. Across the room at another table sat a man who had everything, at least on paper. His name was Daniel Cross, CEO of a multi-million-dollar tech company, investor, philanthropist, single father, widower, a man who had lost his wife to cancer and spent years burying himself in work just to avoid the silence at home. He was dining with a business partner, but his eyes kept drifting, not to the chandeliers, not to the expensive wine, but to the small table near the center of the room. He saw the girl's face, not glamorous, not polished, just real, tired eyes, nervous hands, a kind of sadness you don't learn from books, you earn it from life. He saw the man across from her lean back in his chair, confident, relaxed, ordering without looking at prices. And then Daniel saw the $5 bill. It wasn't the money that caught his attention, it was the shame in her eyes. The man across from Mia started to change. His tone shifted, his patience thinned, his smile became forced. He looked around the restaurant, clearly uncomfortable, embarrassed. When the waiter arrived, he ordered a full meal, steak, wine, dessert. She quietly said she wasn't hungry. The lie tasted bitter in her mouth. Minutes passed, then more. The food arrived. He ate. She watched. The silence grew heavy. Finally, he checked his phone, frowned, stood up, and said he had an emergency. He promised to come back. He didn't. Mia didn't cry immediately. She just sat there, still, frozen. The waiter came with the bill. Her hands started shaking. Her chest tightened. Her ears rang. The number looked like a foreign language. More money than she had seen in weeks. More money than she could pay in months. She slowly reached into her pocket and pulled out the $5 bill. That's when a chair moved at the next table. Daniel stood up, a single dad CEO, a man with power, wealth, influence, and a heart that remembered what it felt like to lose everything. He walked over calmly, gently, not loudly, not dramatically. He placed his napkin down, looked at the waiter, and quietly said he would take care of the bill. Mia looked up, confused, scared, ashamed. Daniel didn't look at her like she was small. He looked at her like she mattered. He paid for the entire meal. Then he did something that changed her life forever. He sat down, not as a CEO, not as a rich man, but as a human being. He told her he was a single father, that he had lost his wife, that he knew what it felt like to be alone in a room full of people, that sometimes life breaks you quietly, not loudly, that dignity matters more than pride, that kindness costs nothing, but saves everything. Mia cried, not loud, not dramatic, just silent tears, the kind that come from being seen for the first time in years. That night didn't end with luxury, it ended with hope. Daniel helped her get home safely. The next week, he helped her find a better job. Not charity, opportunity, not pity, respect. Months later, she was in school full-time, stable, safe, growing, healing. And Daniel? He went home to his daughter that night and hugged her tighter than ever. Because sometimes the richest thing in the room isn't money, it's mercy. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like this video, comment, share it, and subscribe. Your support helps these stories reach the people who need them most. Special request: comment kindness still exists if you believe the world can still change one heart at a time. Because sometimes a $5 bill and one good human being can change a life forever.